Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with his good friend Omar, the real estate entrepreneur. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good, Michael. What's up? What's up, everybody?
Hey, man, I don't know if you've seen this, but in the last 3 or 4 business days, the 10-year note has taken off,
Yeah.
which typically means the 30-year mortgage rate will be on the move. And I wanted to just have a conversation with you, right? We've been in this business a long time. And, a lot of people have opinions, but you and I live it. So I
Right.
thought what we would talk about is, what have you seen historically when interest rates rise? And we're not talking about a gigantic rise, but you know what? They're on the upward trajectory and all of that. So when interest rates rise, what have you seen happen?
Well, I mean, two things. People that FOMO, fear of missing out, they want to two things. Either want to jump in before it gets any more higher,
Mhm.
and the renters that were on the fence are now pretty much getting pushed to purchase something because they
Yeah.
want to still capitalize on the super low interest rate
Yeah.
that everyone is faced with right now, which is awesome. Secondly, though, uh, you know, what do you call the market will end up shifting because there's going to be more inventory,
Yeah.
and when interest rates rise a little bit, the FOMO, the fear of missing out, the sellers
Yeah.
are starting to put their houses on the market, at larger numbers because they want to hurry up and catch it before the interest rate increases. And then everybody knows that when the increases, value of properties, they don't decrease, but the purchasing power from the buyer decreases
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
now a buyer can't afford more money.
Yeah.
So that means you as a seller have to lower your price a little bit to be competitive.
Yeah.
And then if everybody lowers their prices, now buyers are literally choosing which property they want to buy. And lately, sellers are agreeing to closing costs. Sellers
Mhm.
are agreeing to all the extra, repair credits,
Yeah.
and they're probably going $5,000, $10,000. I wouldn't say. Let's just be conservative and say 5 grand under list price,
There you go.
10 grand under list price if it's really overpriced.
Right.
But I'm telling you, this whole dynamic, and we're going into winter, so
Yep.
winter is coming,
Yep.
and it's going to slow things down a little bit. But I have a feeling that there's going to be a huge uptick in purchases because of the interest rate rising, because everyone does not want to miss out.
That's exactly where, again, we did not talk about this ahead of time, but this has been my, and again, I with Bruce Norris, who was a Southern California investor, now in Florida. He's got charts, and as interest rates rise, whether it was in this 80s or 70s, 80s, 90s, right? Because interest rates, they're not really stable. He
No.
has historical precedents that as interest rates have that inflection point,
Right.
people actually rush into the market, just like you said. Just like
Mhm.
you said. They're like, oh, shoot, I got to go now. I missed it. I won't miss it again. So,
Exactly.
so if I'm a real estate agent, I create a template email. I quote the 30-year rate on last Tuesday and the 30-year rate today. It is different. It is higher. And I would send it out to every buyer I've talked with in the last 90 days saying, you know, here's the move. And oh, by the way, if you know the median price in your market, do the math. By the way, that's a $48 a month payment higher for the same house. Do the math, help them.
1 week.
Yeah, 1 week. I mean, whatever it is in your market's like mine. It could be 40, $50 in a week. And again, that's $50 a week for 30 years, right? Do the math, right? I don't know what that is. 50 bucks times a year. So that's $600 times 30. That's 18 grand because you waited.
18 grand because you waited a week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, if I was an agent, I'd be communicating with everyone. Buyers will rush in, but your other point is dead on, right? As this interest rate rises, that pull will eventually become a gap, because then you have an affordability problem. And that's been the big thing I've been watching, right? Affordability is great at a 3% interest rate. It sucks at a 4 or 4.5% interest rate. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, interest rates rise too far, too fast, we could have a real problem.
There's going to be a lot of properties. And if you're overextended, it's going to be an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if you're a flipper and you're bringing on property in February or March next year where rates could be 4%, That will be a fundamentally different buyer profile. Because again, do the math, folks. Just do the math. A 3% interest rate on whatever you're selling versus a 4%. It's a marginal difference. I mean, it's hundreds of dollars.
Half $500,000 house.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah.
That 1%, man.
I mean, because again, right, whether you like it or not, houses are bought on payments.
Right.
And the payment at 3% versus 4% is very, very different.
And, people don't really, I mean, we know it, but the normal consumer wants to jump in because they are missing out. And this is where the education aspect of it, for if you're a realtor, if you're a professional out there, you want to let everybody know. Like you just gave me the idea where I'm sending to my whole database.
You have
the
to.
whole database.
Everybody.
I already have something set up. Everyone. And yeah, letting people know, hey, don't wait much longer. People that waited a week, their new interest payment will be 18 grand more in the term of their loan.
Yeah.
So imagine if you wait another month.
Yeah, and interest rates are a big mover. And again, if we've seen the floor, I mean, the Fed's talking about inflation running hotter and longer. It's
inflation's going to run 5-6%.
I agree. That's what I think. Yeah, I think it's going to be bad. So, folks, if you're in the game, if you're a real estate agent, use this to your advantage. Consumers are very predictable. Most will feel, at least in the short term, if they're on the fence, this could knock them off and make them write an offer because nobody wants to miss the bottom, right? However, the longer this takes on, you have to realize your buyer pool is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And you need to be telling your listing, right, your sellers, wow, this price is above the median. Just so you know, at a higher interest rate, our buyer pool, just because you want to tell them it might take longer. It's not that it won't sell. It's just, hey, we used to have a buyer pool of 50,000. Now it's 25 because everybody buys on payment. So everybody. I mean, there's so few cash buyers out there.
No.
Yeah. So again, folks, understand what's going on with interest rates. It can make a difference in your business. How can people become a part of your team? Omar, you run one of the best teams in the high desert. How can they reach out and be a part of your team?
Guys, just message me on IG at Omar_Alfaro or email me, Omar@omaralfaro.com.
There you go. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.